Hello good friends of YouTube, this is Simon from GAMEZOMATIK and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to another talkie vid, I suppose. As you probably already noticed by now, you can't see me, so I shall put some interesting-ish gameplay up over this video so you're not just bored listening to my dulcet tones. But I wanted to come on and do a little bit of a discussion and jump on that old bandwagon there. That is Call of Duty Black Ops 4 that everyone is talking about, and I wanted to come on and talk about it myself and give it my own little spin or my own little take on it and my thoughts about what I think of it. So yeah, they've announced Black Ops 4, which was no big kind of secret that this was coming out, and it had been rumoured about it having no single player campaign, and I'll get into that in a little bit about it, what I think about it not having a single player campaign. Which surprisingly doesn't really bother me too much, not being the biggest sort of Call of Duty fan anymore. I used to be a big Call of Duty fan back in the day when it was really good. My own personal opinion is there hasn't been a really good Call of Duty campaign since probably the original Black Ops. Although I've mildly enjoyed some of the other campaigns, I actually quite enjoyed Infinite Warfare. I thought it was an okay campaign, but that's just down to, for a futuristic one, that's just down to personal preference. But really, I'd say it hit its peak with Black Ops 1, and then it was all kind of downhill from there. Black Ops 2 was okay, Black Ops 3 was terrible, Advanced Warfare was so-so, Ghosts was just okay. You know, we're talking just okay, nothing amazing, but I do like the original Black Ops. I thought that was pretty much an amazing game. Yeah, so anyone who's been living under a rock, I'll just go through this a little bit. So they've announced it's going to be pretty much multiplayer only, no single player. They're introducing a Battle Royale mode, which I'll get onto in a minute. And there's going to be zombies again, which is great. I quite like zombies. I don't like the way they've changed it over the years. I think they've overcomplicated it. I used to like zombies back in World at War, when it was pretty straightforward, but then they kept adding stuff to it and things like that, and it's just, for me personally, it's just over the top now. But I'm not a big multiplayer gamer anyway, so that doesn't really interest me, hence why the whole new Black Ops really doesn't interest me, really. But I do feel I did want to come on and talk about it, and I know there's been a lot of videos and a lot of video responses and people talking about the way that this is going and the whole single player campaign, you know, which has obviously been taken out due to kind of money. You know, this is obviously all directed towards making money and screwing the gamer for as much cash as they can. They've seen how much money Fortnite is making and decided that they're going to jump on that old Battle Royale bandwagon, and that's what they're going to do. For me personally, Call of Duty as a series has been pretty much dead for quite a while now. But I do still like those kind of single player campaigns. But now that's gone, there's no attraction for me at all to buy the new Call of Duty, and I can definitely say even now there's no way I'm going to go out and buy this game and no way I'm going to play it. However, the thing that I wanted really to discuss, because I've noticed in obviously quite a lot of the reactions that the people seem to have the kind of aggression, if you like, in their responses to this announcement, or their anger is mainly directed at the game developers, which I can understand. I do think it's more of a publisher decision. Like I say, they're just following the money trail. However, I don't believe that the problem inherent in this culture that we seem to be within gaming, that we seem to be embracing, is with the developers. I think they're businesses. I think they'll just make the games that will sell. They're there to make money. If someone said to me, knocked on my door tomorrow and said, you do X, Y, and Z and create a Battle Royale mode and you're going to earn $10 million, I'd do it within a heartbeat. Of course I would. I think the problem is deeper than that, and it's more inherent in the gamers. And I think if you're going to blame someone for this happening, the fall of what was once considered to be a great single-player series, or any gaming franchise as it is, maybe the anger and disappointment should be more directed at the modern generation of gamers than the developers themselves. Now, the issue I have is, of course they're going to make these games, because as much as people have been kind of slagging off Call of Duty and having a go at them for years and years and years, I'd say the last 5 or 6 years now, people are still going out and buying the games. And as long as people buy these games, they're going to continue to make them. And I think we've come to a point now where, you know, we need to speak with our wallets. You know, if you're not happy, don't moan and bitch about it and then go and buy the fucking game, because, you know, and go, well, you know, it looks shit. I didn't want to buy it, but, you know, I just wanted to have a look at it. I just wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to try it out. And, you know, a lot of people these days, it's almost like a sheep kind of mentality. It's like everyone else is doing it, so fuck it, I'll just do it. You know, everyone plays Battlefield, so I'll just play it. I'll just buy it and play it as well and see what it's like. Don't really like it. Don't really like online gaming, but hey, it's the big thing. Fortnite being the biggest example of that. But anyway, I'm going off track here. Basically what I was trying to get back to was, yeah, rather than sort of blaming the game developers, I think we should maybe look at how gamers in general and gaming has changed, and especially Fortnite and Battle Royale being a good example of this. Online gaming is not going anywhere. Multiplayer is massive. I think older gamers like me who are worried about single player content and things like that, I don't think single player games are totally going to disappear. I think it can have its successes. I think God of War that was released recently has proved that there's still life in the old dog yet. You can still release a really good, strong single-player game. But let's face it, multiplayer is not going anywhere. And I think the problem lies with the generation that we have, sort of, not my generation, I was born in the 70s, but the generation of like my kids. I've got an 18-year-old son and I've got a 10-year-old son. And you've got to remember that that generation, they were raised on Call of Duty multiplayer. They were raised primarily on Xbox Live came out around the time that these people were children, and multiplayer online, Halo Online, it was a big deal back then. It was new, it had not been seen before, and everyone was playing these online games, and that's what they grew up with. Hence, for them it's going to be a big deal. I have a 10-year-old son who, like every other 10-year-old, I'm pretty sure in this country and around the world, is playing Fortnite and is absolutely kind of enveloped within Fortnite. And I think the developers of Fortnite are very clever people. The way that game has been marketed with its look, there's no doubt that that is an aesthetically pleasing game to a child. And I think that the whole sense of this younger kind of generation of gamer we're seeing, it's almost, we live in a culture now of instant gratification. You want to watch a movie, you don't go to the cinema anymore, you go on Netflix and there's 100 of them. Same with television, and the same with games. They're not happy to invest time and effort in narrative anymore. I can't really remember. If I put something like Uncharted or something with a heavy narrative tone on for my son, he wouldn't play it. He plays Assassin's Creed. He skips he's happy to run around in that sandbox and kind of go around stabbing people to death and riding horses and all this, but he doesn't watch the cutscenes. He'll just skip them. I think that's kind of indicative of the generation that we have now coming up of gamers, where narrative is not really a thing for them anymore. I think God of War did well, but I don't think it was the younger generation of gamer playing it, or even 18 or 19 year olds. I think that game did well. I think it was people in the 30s and 40s who bought that game. Obviously there were some younger gamers out there, maybe mid-20s, that bought it and played it, and even some that were younger than that. But I think generally I think if you took most of the people that play God of War and games like that, strong narrative-based games, I've personally met very few people that play a lot of single-player games and a lot of multiplayer games. I generally find they either do one or the other, and they dabble. So, they play a lot of single-player. Like me, I dabble in multiplayer. I don't play it as a rule that much. And I think people who play a lot of multiplayer dabble in single-player, but don't play that much of it. And I just think that's the way it's going. So, almost, getting back to Black Ops and Call of Duty, I almost think they're right in a sense. This is a Call of Duty for the future. However, I do kind of have an issue with them calling it Call of Duty. I think what they should have... They're obviously trading off the Call of Duty name and the mechanics that have been put in place within the multiplayer over the last 10 years. Using the same sort of engine. Graphically, it doesn't look... I watched the trailer for the new Call of Duty. It looked no different for me than Black Ops 3 or the other 5 games that came before it. So as much as they may sort of present you saying they've added all the new features to the game and they're adding this, that and the other and Battle Royale, essentially Call of Duty is always going to be Call of Duty. I watch my son playing these multiplayer games and there's almost a sense of one-upmanship. There's a rivalry there between school friends or, buddies, if you like. I'm a higher level than you. Well, I've got this weapon that you haven't got, and especially with Fortnite, I think the way that Fortnite is presented towards younger gamers, especially, is quite nefarious in the way it's priced. To buy one skin, which is one character model in Fortnite, is something like £14 or something, or about $20 or something like that. To buy a character model, 2,000 V-Bucks. And of course, I know from my own experience from having, a 10-year-old, his friends get it, he wants it. There's that whole peer pressure thing going on in multiplayer. And I'm thinking it is an unhealthy game loop. And it's a loop that you don't particularly want your kids to get into, but it's everywhere. And the publishers and the game companies are ramming it down these kids' throats. And it's so lucrative and is making so much money that people just, it's like a juggernaut that's never going to stop. And I think the only way to stop it is for game developers to find a way to make narrative single player experiences that will ensure them a lucrative income. Because the one thing you can say about multiplayer is it's like a gold mine. It's like a never-ending gold mine that they can just keep tapping into, keep releasing more DLCs, more cosmetic items. Kids, people, whatever, will go out, they'll keep buying this. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want things to change and you don't want a lot more games to suddenly start shifting over to this multiplayer focus, then I think as older gamers and especially as parents of these younger gamers have a responsibility to do what I said at the beginning of this video, and is to vote with our wallets and to stop buying our kids these DLCs and these add-on packs and these cosmetic items, because as long as dickheads like us keep buying them and they keep reaping the profits of these games, then they're going to just keep making them. And Call of Duty isn't going to be the first franchise that loses its single player campaign. I think it's younger gamers' attitudes towards story driven, narrative based, campaign based games that need to change, and I think developers need to find a way to make those games profitable. So we're getting a good balance. I'm not totally against multiplayer games, but if this trend continues where only multiplayer games are the only games making money, then they're just going to stop making single player content eventually. Because once people have played those single player experiences, with the short attention span a lot of the younger generation of gamers have, they'll play it once and they'll get rid of it, and there's no replay value and no reason there, no way of the company making more money. And as we know, in the end, everything always boils down to money. Anyway, that's my little take on Black Ops 4. Thank you for watching, and don't buy it. I shall be back with another video soon. Take care. Bye.